Okay, so we're back here for round 2. Here's our hand. Starting hand for double living ring, an oust, Teferi's Moat, and 3 lands. So got a lot of removal, and Teferi's Moat can pretty much be the game ender against this deck, because if he gets played naming red, then he has very few ways to get damage through, apart from Boggart Mob, perhaps, as his lone black creature, I think, in his deck. So we thought this was worth a keep. If we can land a Teferi's Moat, that would be great. Draw a Flash Freeze, place a Jury Refuge, and pass it turn. He Lightning Bolts here, which seems quite strange, makes more sense when we see his next turn, where he drops a Rakdos Carnarium. The problem with that is, if you play second turn Rakdos Carnarium without playing any other spells, then you end up having to discard at the end of your turn, because you've got too many cards in hand. So you obviously used Lightning Bolt there to avoid doing that. He had another Lightning Bolt for our face again, which possibly makes less sense, but we don't have a ton of targets for Lightning Bolts in our deck, so it seems to be small play. Play the Plains here, not over the Refuge, so we can keep Flash Freeze up for next turn, and pass that turn. Here he has Mob War Marshal, which is definitely worth a Flash Freeze, seeing as though Oust is particularly bad against it, and Oblivion Ring's also not so great as a removal spell for Mob War Marshal. So we pick up another Oust and drop a land. He plays Duress, which I was quite surprised to see in a Goblins deck, but yeah, not really much we could do about that. And he takes the moat, so a bit sad to see that let go, but not much you can do. He plays Dragon Fodder and passes his turn. Here we go to oust one of the tokens to stop taking damage from that, and obviously makes the token disappear, which is quite good. But we decided not to oust the other token, which is maybe a mistake. And definitely looks more of a mistake when he drops a bush on us. Yeah, take 4 there. Get another land. We oust the token, which probably means we should have done it the turn before, but not too big a deal. And he just gets in with the Bushwhacker on his turn and drops Boggart Mob, championing the Bushwhacker. Which isn't too much of a problem, as we have Oblivion Ring to deal with that, which is what we do. He gets his Bushwhacker back, make a land drop, pass the turn. We could have Oblivion Ringed the Bushwhacker then, and maybe should have done, but it seemed like a lack of value for me anyway. But yeah, we get the rest. He takes the Oblivion Ring, so perhaps that would have been a better play, especially as this Bushwhacker proves quite troublesome through the rest of the game. You play out Sphinx though, and seem to be taking control. Obviously doesn't attack there. You drop our Courier's Capsule, drop 2 cards, one of which is Purge, Celestial Purge, which is good against him. Note that he's gained 6 life from the ousts, which means that it's going to take a whole lot longer to beat him down with Sphinx of Jor-El, which is pretty relevant in this game. 5 again. I really don't want to use Celestial Purge on his Goblin Bushwhacker, but on 9 life, I felt like we were taking too much damage and might be liable to burst spell soon, so we decided to remove it then. And yeah, we proceed to draw a massive number of lands over the next few turns, which is annoying when we see his next play here, which is Boggart Mob, which basically means we have to sit back and block and trade with the Sphinx of Jor-El next turn. And yeah, it's a pretty depressing sight to see only lands sat on the top of my library. So yeah, we make the trade. But because one of his goblins dealt damage, his Boggart Mob triggers, ability triggers, and he gets another goblin, meaning we're going to die all the quicker. Takes us with 2 here, and I think we draw another land for our turn. About 5 land drops in a row there, which is pretty depressing. He did Raven, so we're just dead right here. 2 damage from the Raven bombardment, and 2 from his creatures means we're dead. And that's the end. Game. So moving on to game 3.